this week's episode, the Cornetto Trilogy, War of the Worlds, and As the Palaces Burn. Let's talk BS.
Whee! Hello.
I did it again.
Did it again.
I know.
Nice one.
Right, so...
Right, shall we crack into it with an apology to begin with?
Yes. Well, yes. I think you should apologise.
Yeah, it is kind of my fault, to be quite honest. That memorable first episode where we turned around and went, yeah, we're going to do this once a month at least. At least once a month. We can stick to that. Yeah. Fell on the very first hurdle. It's been a month and a half.
Yeah. We were planning to record, and then Saul is a busy boy.
Got busy. Basically, I ended up stage-handing a musical production. And
two musical
productions in the space of 1 month. It was quite the busy month, but they basically turned around and said, "What days can you do?" And me, being naive old me, went, "Oh, I can do all of them, mate. It'll be fine." And then after I'd agreed to it all, I was like, "Oh no, wait, I've got shit."
Yeah, we'd already arranged to do the podcast.
To be fair though, I almost didn't make it to this recording either.
No, you didn't, Saul. What happened?
Naive old me
again
thought that my day wasn't nearly interesting enough, so I thought I'd fall off an electric skateboard at 20 miles an hour and do myself some proper internal damage.
Yep.
Not fun. I wouldn't recommend.
No.
0.5 out of 10. You're only getting a 0.5 because I was stuck on morphine, and that was actually pretty decent.
So now you're on copious amounts of codeine.
Codeine, paracetamol, ibuprofen, and antibiotics. Yeah.
Don't happen there. The audio cut out, so might have a slight pause.
It did.
It's fine. We'll have to keep an eye on that one.
We'll have to keep an eye. It should be fine.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna crack
as you were saying.
Oh yeah, beer. There we go. Found myself a bottle opener and
Nice. I can't join with the beer because medication. So I'm sipping on a lovely, refreshing can of Pepsi Max Cherry.
Oh yeah. Hashtag spawn. Not really.
I mean, if they want to sponsor us, that'd be fantastic. They're more than welcome.
I'm drinking a Lancaster Bomber.
That's going to happen somehow.
Mm.
So yes, that's the reason that we were late. We're sorry. Well, I'm sorry. It's my fault.
Yeah, I was ready. I was sat here, my headphones on, all day. Where the fuck is he?
I would just like to point out though that like I've been pretty much bedbound and homebound for the past week and a half, which has driven me mad. But the support that I've received over the past week and a half has been absolutely mental.
Yeah.
So for anyone listening who contributed to that, just thank you. It's great.
Yeah, definitely.
Shall we move on?
Yeah, let's move on. Did you start a timer?
I did not. No.
Would you want to do that now?
I can do that. Well, to be fair, I was going to do that at the beginning of the very first episode we did, and I forgot about half an hour into it, and there was no point past then.
And then it ended up being like 2 hours long.
It ended up being quite long.
It's fine. We won't do it this time. No, we definitely won't be that long. But thank you for people that listened all the way through last time. Appreciate it. Yeah. Right, let's go, Saul.
Let's go. Right.
It's your turn first.
It's me. What we're going to talk about first is the Cornetto Trilogy. That comprises of Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, and The World's End. Not in that order.
Not in that order.
Begins with Shaun of the Dead. But it's one of my favourite trilogies. Is it one of yours? Am I right in thinking?
Yeah. I absolutely love the Cornetto Trilogy. I mean, I love them both. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
Yes. And Edgar Wright.
Yes. Oh yeah, definitely Edgar Wright.
Yes.
Yeah. He's done some cracking films. Not along as well as those three.
Yes. What comes to mind? Scott Pilgrim.
Baby Driver.
Baby Driver. Yeah.
Which I saw the other week. Absolutely amazing.
I still haven't watched Baby Driver yet.
What?
I've literally got it on Blu-ray. What? It's still in its cellophane packaging.
So you will love Baby Driver.
Yeah, I know I will, and I need to get around to watching it at some point, and I'm going to. I mean, technically, apart from being here, I'm still meant to be homebound, so I might just stick it on.
But you're a rebel.
I am a rebel, yeah.
Also,
Right.
Yeah, so go into it.
Let's get cracking into... Yeah, basically, I've just got some interesting little facts about...
science facts, you might say.
Oh, no. Copyright, that's it.
I can't see that's copyrighted.
Yeah, I've got some interesting little facts that some people might know and other people might not, and we thought it might make for interesting conversation.
Cool.
So, let's get cracking into it. This codeine is not doing me any favours. Any favours whatsoever.
Starts saying like, oh, what's that bunny doing over there? Well, Saul, I think that might be the codeine.
Yeah, most likely. Anyway, it's the Cornetto Trilogy, and it was a riff and a nod to Christoph's 3-colour trilogy, which was blue, white, and red. Blue was released in 1993, year I was born, and the other two were white and red were released the year after, so 1994. And obviously, then the Cornetto Trilogy is strawberry, classical, and mint, which is red, blue, and green. But an interesting fact is that the Cornetto Trilogy was not planned.
No.
Not at all. The way it came around was their little premiere for Shaun of the Dead. And at that premiere, they were handing out Cornettos because of the significance of that line, what do you want from the shops? Cornetto, mate. And basically, the ice cream thing only came around because they got free ice creams at the Shaun of the Dead premiere, and they thought, how can we get more Cornettos? And then the idea was born from that of, oh yeah, there's loads of other different flavoured Cornettos, why don't we make a trilogy?
Nice. So, sorry if this jumps on one of your facts, but is there an endorsement from Cornetto, or did they just do it and then, like, is there anything from like that?
I think they just did it. I couldn't find anything that would indicate that they were supported in this.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Cornetto probably did.
I'm sure they probably knew.
Yeah.
With films that big, or they ended up being that big anyway. Especially by the time.
If they had a problem with it, they would have shut it down.
Yeah, they would have shut it down before
the
Hot
massive
Fuzz was
global conglomerate that is Cornetto.
Exactly. Also, the reason that Cornettos were used is that Egner used to use Cornettos as his hangover cure in college and university.
I knew that one. I know that fact, yeah.
Nice.
You know what? I feel like I'm going to be a lot of these. I'm like, yep, knew that.
Yeah, already knew that. I tell you what, I've got a belter for the world's end at the end that might stump you. It's great.
I have to say, before we get into that, in terms of the trilogy, I think. I mean, what's your favourite? Before we go, what's your favourite out of the three?
Still struggle to pinpoint my absolute favourite because it does vary. It varies from time to time,
They're
and
all
I'm gonna
different.
I'm gonna explain that more later on.
Okay.
When we sort of round things off at the end, but it depends. Like, I haven't got a definite answer for that.
Okay. Well, I'll say mine.
Yeah.
Mine's Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
I love Hot Fuzz. Like, I think Hot Fuzz is no. I know that Hot Fuzz is the one that I have watched the most. I can quote that film from top to bottom. I like Shaun of the Dead second. And
Shaun of the Dead is the film that I can quote from start to finish.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you've seen Hot Fuzz, you can quote Shaun of the Dead, to be fair, because they obviously lend a lot. And my least favourite is World's End. Okay. I don't hate it. It's definitely not a bad film, but I think actually, in terms of the trilogy, I think that stands out the most because I don't think it borrows a lot of the tropes. There's not really. I mean, to be fair, I think I've only watched it once.
I've watched it quite a few times, and when it got released, it was my favourite for quite a long old time. Actually, I watched it a lot,
really?
Like over and over.
Yeah, so
there was a stage where I'd be watching it at least once a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when I watched it, it was like there wasn't really that many. There wasn't like the what do you want from the shop, Cornetto. Yeah. There wasn't that. There wasn't.
There was definitely
have you
still nods. There was definitely still nods.
But there wasn't a literally like, you know, I mean, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, there wasn't even a bit like, have you never taken a shortcut before?
There was a part where Gary King, who is Simon Pegg's character, does attempt to jump over a fence and it just falls over.
Yeah, okay. It's kind of a nod to it, but it's not a direct thing.
I think, the World's End sort of just nodded to stuff rather than outright.
But that was the longest gap, wasn't it, between films?
Yeah, absolutely.
Between Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, there was a definite, like, it was one after the other, basically, wasn't it, within reason?
Yeah.
But with World's End, it was definitely a long time, because they did loads of films in between that. Like,
Paul was done, even though Edgar Wright wasn't anything to do with that.
No.
Simon Pegg and Nick Frost were.
Yeah. A lot of people kind of put Paul alongside that, don't they? A lot of people do.
Did Scott Pilgrim come out after Hot Fuzz?
Yeah,
I think it did.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
I think after Hot Fuzz is when Edgar Wright became more of a, like, we need Edgar Wright. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, like, for me, I saw his name a lot more after Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I think it's a more polished film, personally, Hot Fuzz, than Shaun of the Dead. I think it's more. I don't know. I think he's honed it a bit more in Hot Fuzz, personally. But
I think I'd agree. Even though I don't know. I'm gonna get onto it at the end once I've rounded up all of the stuff.
You go for sorry, I'll stop distracting you, and you carry on through your.
So
facts.
We'll start with Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead was made in 2004. It was written by Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright and directed by Edgar Wright. I'm only going to say that once because that's literally they writ all of them and Edgar Wright directed all of them.
I think you're slurring your words.
I really am. This codeine is not doing me well. I don't even need beer, mate. Not this time round. Right. I will keep making this mistake because I'm high on codeine right now. You're just gonna have to deal with it. Sorry. The idea for Shaun of the Dead came around after filming the Resident Evil episode of Spaced.
Okay.
Spaced is a TV program that Edgar Wright wrote and directed, and Simon Pegg and Nick Frost were in it, among many other people who then showed up in the trilogy here and there, which was great. I love Spaced; it's great. But yeah, the idea for that came around through one of their episodes of Spaced. Cool. And they sort of built on it from there, much writing, all that jazz, until Shaun of the Dead came around. Let's see, just looking at notes.
I think while you're looking, I think one of the reasons why I like the Cornetto Trilogy so much is because it kind of reminds me of like when my mates Max and Alex, we'd get together and we'd like write a script and then we'd make some stupid film that was basically loads of in-jokes and loads of silly jokes, and it feels like that. It feels like mates making a film, like especially Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. It definitely feels like these mates have got together and they've made a silly film, taking the piss out of a genre of film. Yeah,
funny you should mention that, actually, because they were quite nervous about releasing Shaun of the Dead in the time frame that they did.
Yeah.
Because it there's a quote from Edgar Wright saying, we all thought about internally that it wasn't going to do very well in the UK because it got released about 2 weeks after the remake of Dawn of the Dead from Zack Snyder.
Is that the Ving Rhames one? Oh, I can never remember.
I can't remember. It's been ages since I've watched Dawn of the Dead, but they were worried that it wouldn't do as well because it was released within the same time frame as the remake of Dawn of the Dead, and it was also both of the films were released by Universal.
Oh, okay.
So they had a slight nervous twitch that it wouldn't do so well because he wasn't as well known back then as he is now. And they were afraid that loads of people would just look at it as just a piss take of Dawn of the Dead, especially within the time frame of it being released.
And probably just like, oh shit, not another shitty like scary movie parody.
And skip it entirely.
Yeah. I think that's the thing as well, because it's like, it is technically a parody, isn't it? But
yes,
it's not a parody.
It's not.
In terms of like scary movie or like all those fucking films.
Basically, they didn't want to make or to make Wright produce a film taking the piss out of Dawn of the Dead.
No.
They didn't want to make a a zombie comedy film. They wanted to make a comedy film and a zombie film.
Yeah, which I think that they did that.
Yeah, like the horrific parts in it are quite horrific and difficult to watch at times, especially seeing that I watched this film when I was like 12 maybe,
yeah.
and like there are parts of Shaun of the Dead that stuck with me from a young age because of how horrific they were.
Yeah.
The bit where the guy just gets torn limb from limb in the pub right at the end, that stuck with me for a long old while when I was 12.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, just spoilers, obviously, but if you haven't seen Shaun of the Dead by this point, then like you need to just
that's true.
Look at yourself in the mirror and say, why haven't I seen Shaun of the Dead?
Why are you listening to this podcast?
I know, yeah. Go. No, stay. Just skip.
Just skip, yeah. So, yeah, that was their aim, was to make a horror film and about zombies and a comedy.
Yeah.
And the comedy stuff really fucking lands. It's fantastic. It has me in stitches every time. But the horror stuff is true to its word. Yeah. It's horror. Did you know the rumour that dogs can't look up in the film?
Yeah.
That rumour didn't exist before this film.
No way.
Yeah.
It came out with it.
Yeah.
Oh,
the rumour only started going around once this film got released.
Brilliant.
So there were people that genuinely thought that dogs couldn't look up, primarily because of the release of this film.
That is brilliant. It's just like them to start something like that,
isn't
it, really?
It's fantastic.
Oh, perfect.
Also, Nick Frost's character was basically Nick Frost in their younger years.
Yeah.
Him and Simon lived together, and he would genuinely lounge around playing video games and doing nothing with his life.
That sounds about right.
He now credits it as method acting for this exact role later down the line. But it is really interesting to watch because they act it so well that you can kind of just tell that it's more than acting there. It is just them at that stage.
Yeah. I do know one fact
about
Nick Frost, and I don't know if you've got it already, but apparently he actually shaved off his pubes so that the scratching for Clive the Monkey, when he did his impression, like his impression would actually be like his scratching would actually be like look right. I don't know if I got the quote wrong or something. I swear to God, there was something that he shaved off his pubes for, so his scratch would be like. It would be believable, but I mean,
it wouldn't surprise me. But
I don't know. I can't remember the fucking thing now. But yeah,
I haven't got it written down here, so
there was something. Look, quote me if I'm wrong. Comment, if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Pubes. Actually, that's all I remember.
That's all you remember.
Definitely Nick Frost at some point shaved.
What was your highlight from Shaun of the Dead, Adam? Well, it was pubes.
Shaving of them mainly. Fuck me. We're going downhill already, man.
It's fine.
I can't blame the codeine though.
No, you've got a beer in your hand now. You can blame that.
And this is like my first beer.
No, you didn't have to say that. You could have said it was like your third.
No, I know. Anyway, keep moving.
Moving on.
Let's keep going.
I love the writing in all three of the films, but I especially love the writing in Shaun of the Dead, I think, because it goes back to jokes that were played out like right at the very beginning of the film that you then clock onto later.
Yeah.
But there are times where you don't clock onto that joke until like your fifth, sixth viewing.
Yeah.
Where you're kind of just like, oh yeah, fuck yeah.
You've got really good rewatchability.
Yeah. Yeah. Like there's a part where Simon is talking to Nick about the fact that he's a lazy shit and that he needs to get up and find some work and what have you.
Yeah.
And this is while Nick is playing Time Splitters on the PS2.
Yeah.
And so why Simon is talking to him, he'll occasionally just go, oh, top left, nice shot, all of that. And that exact dialogue is then repeated by Nick to Simon when he's using the Winchester rifle in the shootout in the pub.
I hadn't thought about that one.
Yeah, and it's small stuff like that you just pick up on once in a while. That you're like, oh yeah, fuck, that's really clever.
Is that You've Got Red on You?
You got red on you.
Yeah, like that's the one, isn't it? And like the people that they're walking like zombies at the beginning, and things like that. Like it's so clever.
It's so really cleverly written, and it's stuff that you wouldn't even pick up on your first viewing.
No, definitely not.
It's great. So we're going to move on to Hot Fuzz, which is one of your favourites.
Yeah.
Came out 2007. I know a friend. How old were we? 2007. I'm not good at maths.
I don't know.
Lovely.
I have no idea.
I was still in secondary school, like definitely.
Oh yeah,
I just can't remember what year.
Yeah, no.
But I distinctly remember one of my best mates at the time being able to get into the cinema because he was so tall.
Yeah.
So he actually managed to see it in the cinema, which I remember being extremely jealous of because I had to wait until it came out on DVD.
Yeah. Likewise.
The budget for this film was around $12 million.
Fuck.
That's it. It's so little.
But it doesn't look like that, though,
no,
does it?
not at all. Like,
Jesus, I mean, all the guns and shit like that, like that they've got in there, and they've got a whole village, you know, and it's not like a set. Is it a set?
There's lots of sets. Like they've got a model village that they fight in at the end. That being said, not the most expensive shot of the film.
No. What's the most expensive shot?
It might surprise you. In a film with gunfights, explosions, a model village.
Yeah.
The most expensive shot was when Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are on the sofa watching Bad Boys 2 and Point Break.
Oh shit, because they would have had to pay for the rights to the films.
That was the most difficult shot out of the entire thing.
Oh, bloody
just
hell.
to use that 5-second clip of Point Break that they then refer to later on, that point where Keanu Reeves is pointing the gun at his best mate and then fires it up in the air and goes, Have you ever fired your gun up in the air and gone, No, I have not ever fired my gun up in the air and gone,
You ain't seen Bad Boys 2? I actually haven't seen Bad Boys 2. They're making Bad Boys 3 now, aren't they?
I think they are, yeah. I actually haven't seen Bad Boys 2 either.
Have you seen Point Break?
I've seen Point Break,
I haven't
yes.
seen Point Break.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
Maybe we should have a night. Where we both watch Point Break.
Yeah.
And get drunk and watch Point Break and Bad Boys 2.
And then fire our guns up in the air and go,
Yeah.
So that little 6-7 second shot is pretty much what it is. They had to call up Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze to get their permission to use their likeness in that film.
Wow.
That's not the ridiculous part.
Yeah.
The part where Patrick Swayze is climbing up the fence.
Yeah.
That wasn't Patrick Swayze.
What, really?
That was his stunt double.
Oh, no way. So
they also had to phone up
the stunt
double to ask, even though you can't actually see the stunt double's face because he's wearing a mask at the time, and you can literally just see the back of his head. That's it. For maybe 2 seconds, they had to phone up the stunt double. So Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze could have been like, yeah, no, absolutely fine, no problem. And it would have been entirely fucked if the stunt double had gone, nah.
No, you can't.
Imagine
can I be
that.
in your film?
Imagine that.
Oh my god. And Will Smith, obviously, and the other guy.
Yeah.
Obviously, I had to ask him with them as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that ended up being the most expensive shot out of the entire film.
That is absolutely hilarious. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. This is the world we live in, people. Costs more money to pay for a person.
It does.
Not even
it's
a person,
mad.
just like a clip of a person.
Literally.
5 seconds.
5 seconds. And they made an entire fucking model village to have a fight in, and that didn't even...
They blew up an entire house.
They did. They blew up an entire police...
Force.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Mad.
She mine.
I just love the fact that it could have all been untied by if the stunt double had turned around and been like, nah, we're all right.
Yeah.
Okay, the one thing I love about this film, I think above the other two, is that every character in this is written to such a degree that every single word they say and every single action they do reinforces their arc by the end of the film.
Definitely.
Like, massively so.
Every single one.
Every single one. Every single character has been thought over like they are the main character of the film.
Nobody tells me nothing.
Bill Bailey.
I love Bill Bailey in that film.
Nobody tells me nothing. Have you seen the bloopers for Hot Fuzz? They're hilarious.
No, I haven't. No,
Have you not?
Oh, no, wait,
Oh.
I might. No, I might. I must have done because I used to watch it like religiously. Hot Fuzz. Like, it used to be one of my go-to films. And then obviously, then after you've watched the film so many times, you're like, I've got to watch the special features.
Yeah, yeah.
So obviously, then you watch that. But I love in Hot Fuzz the special features. They've got like a reel of when they had to like censor it for television.
Yes, they did exactly the same for Shaun of the Dead as well, and it was brilliant.
And I also, you dirty bastard.
Because they had to censor the line in Shaun of the Dead, and it's my favourite line out the entire film. Was it's 4 in the fucking morning.
Yeah.
It's Saturday. No, it's not. It's fucking Sunday, and I've got fucking work in 4 fucking hours because every fucker in my fucking department is fucking ill. Now can you see why I'm so fucking angry?
Fuck yeah. Just censor that.
They had to censor that, and it was glorious to watch. They censored it with funk.
Oh yeah. You know what? My favourite censoring in Hot Fuzz is when the vicar falls down and he goes, "Jesus Christ,
Peas and
rice."
Peas and rice.
Like, you don't even need to censor that. It's just blasphemy. But I just love. And now I say that in my day-to-day life, like, oh, peas and rice.
Yes. Yeah, I occasionally say it once in a while. It's hilarious.
It's great.
One of my favourite bloopers was that part where Simon Pegg's or Nicholas. It's Nicholas
Angel.
Yeah, Nicholas Angel.
Yeah.
Nicholas Angel is talking to the farmer about the lost swan.
Yeah.
He goes, okay, right. So, what colour of this swan? And the farmer's like,
It's white.
It's white. And he's like, yeah, but I have, I've seen a couple of black swans around sometimes. And he goes, well, and the farmer goes, well, this one isn't black. It's white. And Nicholas is just scrawling away on his notes. And he goes, racist farmer.
That's Stephen Merchant, isn't it?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. No, it is. It is Stephen Merchant. I don't know why I said it, isn't it? Like, is it? No, it is. Don't answer back, Saul.
I wasn't. Sorry. I moved on to the coke now. Moving on to the heavy stuff. We both took sips there, and that was probably entirely the wrong thing.
That was the wrong time. This podcast is polished. Speaking of polished, should we get on to? So, have you got any more for Hot Fuzz, or should we go on to? World's End?
I've got a couple. Did you know when they're introducing Nicholas Angel at the beginning, and it shows him being stabbed through the hand by Father Christmas.
Yeah.
Do you know who that is?
Is that actually Edgar Wright?
No, it's Peter Jackson.
Oh shit! Yeah, I did know that. I knew it was someone. I knew it was someone famous, obviously. But yeah, I couldn't remember. Yeah, Peter Jackson.
Yeah, I found that hilarious because he's literally
brilliant.
there for what? Not even half a second.
How much did that cost?
I have no idea. I like to think that they're just good mates, and he was like, "Yeah, sure, sounds like a laugh." Because famously, like Peter Jackson liked cameoing in his own films, all the time. Like Lord of the Rings, especially, like you can spot him a couple of times, and other times you can't even spot him because he's so heavily maked up. But yeah, I like to think that he just likes to be in cameos for as many films as he can, which why not? I would if I was like a famous director. I'd be like, yeah, cameo me in your film, mate. That sounds like a laugh.
Yeah, little work for massive praise.
I've also written down, and it's pretty much the same with all three films, that this is the kind of film that you have to watch at least 3 or 4 times before you can have an honest opinion about it.
Yeah. I suppose maybe I should watch World's End a bit more then, really, shouldn't I? Before I start spouting off how I don't like it as much. But yeah, I agree.
Speaking of World's End, shall we move on to World's End?
Yeah, World's End. Yeah, I'm interested to hear about this one because, like I said, don't actually know that much about it really.
Fair.
So go for it.
Well, on the surface level, it's a film about a pub crawl, 12 pints, 12 pubs, the Golden Mile.
Yeah.
But
Which we need to do really. We haven't done a pub crawl like that, so we should do that.
Yeah, saying that we should go there and do it.
Well, I don't know. Maybe not there. Might not be a good idea. What with all the aliens and that.
Robots, technically.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Robot aliens.
Well, clones. I don't know what it. I still don't really know what they are to this stage.
Yeah,
they're just people
odd.
with glowy blue eyes and mouths.
Yeah. But yeah, we should do a pub crawl.
We should do a pub crawl. Okay.
Do one round here.
We probably could. Yeah.
It wouldn't take too long. There's only about 5 pubs.
Right.
We could do it up and down, and then we 10. Like, so we go up, and then we go back down
again.
And then it's
10.
10. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, cool.
And then just have a couple more in the last one. We'll make it up to 12.
Yeah. Sorry, just doing our admin. World's End.
Yes, the World's End. So that's sort of the service level of what this film is, but look at it a bit deeper and it's a hell of a lot more. It plays on so many levels. Like, it's about a group of friends coming back home and then realising that home isn't quite how they left it. And I mean, I've found that on the rare times that I've gone back to my old village and I've been like, this isn't how I remember it. It's completely changed.
Yeah, you have like the nostalgia goggles sometimes, don't you? And things like that.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, like, oh yeah, let's go and do this because it was fun when we were younger. But actually, when you go back to do it, it's not as fun anymore. Yeah,
exactly. So it's a story. It's a story about that, but it's just taken up to 11.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
As only they know how to do best.
Yeah.
They basically take a normal situation and they dial it up to 11.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant watching. It's also a story about addiction from Gary King.
Okay.
Who is the main character in it. Like, it's a heartbreaking story, actually. At the beginning, how well do you know the film?
Yeah, I mean, like, it was a while ago that I watched it.
So you know right at the beginning when he's in an AA meeting?
Yeah.
Sort of no friends, that looming... there's that brilliant shot right at the beginning. And it's after... one of the guys in the meeting turns around and goes, "Did you ever finish the pub crawl?"
Yeah.
He turned around and went, Nah. It's alright though, it's fine. And then there's just literally a 20-second long, just slow zoom onto his face, where he goes through Simon Pegg goes for a wide range of emotions, and this shot I'd credit to him being such a good actor.
Yeah.
Like, when people turn around and go, Simon Pegg can't act, I direct them towards this shot right here because it's fantastic. Because it goes from like him being like relaxed and being like, yeah, we didn't finish it, but it's all right, to sudden like anguish in his face and like despair that they didn't finish it, because to him, like, that's all he's got.
Yeah, that was his thing, isn't it? You know, that's
to a slow little smirk as he starts to like formulate a plan in his head of, I could bring them all back together, we could do this.
Finish the golden mile.
Exactly. And that's the last shot you see before it again goes to the title screen, and I think it's a brilliant shot.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. I need another drink. Phil.
Have another drink. Yeah, alright, I've got to fill it with stuff. Yeah, I think actually, to be fair, like with The World's End, I wasn't expecting it to be with the aliens. I had no idea that's what it was about.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, oh, fuck, okay. And to be honest, I feel like it could have done without it, if I'm honest. I think actually it would have been just fine without the robots.
You think?
Yeah, I think they could have done a great film just without the aliens and just doing the pub crawl and like the mates and things like that. Like,
yeah, but again, the whole alien thing is basically their version of dialing it out to 11.
Yeah.
So,
and that's fine, and that's how they do it, and you know, and I wouldn't change it, but I think actually I'd like to see that. I'd like to see more of a just friends going on a pub crawl sort of thing, you know.
Yeah.
But then again, it could turn into a fucking Hangover, the film. Then so.
Yeah, exactly. The one thing I really like about this, and it's shot brilliantly again, is that the film actually shows that none of the people in that group, although they're living completely different lives to what they were, as you see at the beginning, apart from Gary King, who's just stuck in his same thing that he has been for years and can't escape from it, they're all just exactly the same. None of them have really changed. Not really. You know, the first 10 minutes of the film where it shows their younger selves and the whole pub crawl thing that they try doing then.
Yeah, yeah.
All of the shots from the first 10 minutes of that film, of them going back and reminiscing, all of them shots are practically mirrored, shot for shot, throughout the rest of the film as they do the second pub crawl.
Yeah.
Like there's a part where Gary King, at the beginning of the film, like rings a doorbell and they all run off.
Yeah.
And then they do that exact same thing later on down
the
line. And literally, like, every single one of them shots in the first 10 minutes is at some point throughout the rest of the film repeated.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
And that goes as a credit to Edgar Wright as well, isn't it? Because like his style and his vision does really come across. You know, and you watch an Edgar Wright film, it's like, yeah, that's him. That's Edgar Wright right there.
Yeah. So. Yeah, exactly. Now, I've got something here that's like really interesting that I had never picked up on through the numerous amount of times I've watched a film, but I actually watched a YouTube video about it. And I actually do want to credit the person. It's called Movies with Mikey.
Okay.
And the guy's actually really interesting. He does a lot of films, but he's primarily done like all three of the Cornetto Trilogy stuff. And I watched all three, and some of this information that I'm talking about now comes from them videos. So if you do get the chance to check it out, I'd highly recommend it. It's Movies with Mikey.
Cool.
He pointed out something in The World's End that, like, I literally watched the YouTube video itself a good 2-3 times because I was like, oh fuck, that's really clever.
Yeah.
Basically, the pub names themselves, the 12 pubs, tell us what is going to happen in order of the entire film.
Right, okay, I think I recollect hearing something like this, but yeah.
Okay.
So
the first pub is called The First Post.
Yeah, obviously.
Which is basically a soldier's post. So it's basically Gary assigning all of his mates to go through this journey with him.
Yeah.
Because none of them really wanted to do it. They're all sort of kind of just dragged into it by Gary and his means.
Yeah.
So that's brilliant. The second pub is called The Old Familiar. Mm-hmm. And the joke was that it was exactly the same as the first pub they walked into.
Yes.
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
Also known as Starbucking it.
Yeah.
Just Starbucking it, man.
Yeah.
The third pub was called The Famous Cock.
Sorry.
I hear you sniggering.
Sorry.
And it's basically that Gary still believes that he's famous around Newton Haven.
Yeah.
And
he's not.
And he's also a massive cock.
Yeah, it's true.
Also, when they walk into the Famous Cock, the bartender remembers him from the first pub crawl they went on and reminded him that he's still banned for life.
Oh, yeah.
So
he's a famous cock.
So he is a famous cock.
Very good.
Exactly. Fourth pub was called The Cross Hands, and it's the first time they cross hands with the robots. The massive fight in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Also, it seems right to point out at this time that in this pub, that's when Andy, played by Nick Frost, downs them 5 shots.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So the fifth pub is called The Good Companions, and it's now that Andy has joined the drunken ranks, they've basically resided into the group that they used to be.
Yeah.
The Good Companions.
Perfect.
The Trusty Servant. Andy resides back to his high school persona of being Gary's trusted servant.
Yeah.
Because they were absolute best of mates before the whole accident that split them apart as friends, basically.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Vaguely, yeah. I'm gonna have to watch it again.
Yeah, I've got the Blu-ray. You could borrow it off me at some point.
I think I've actually got your original copy of the DVD.
Oh yeah, I bought it on DVD to begin with, and then gave it to you. I remember.
Yeah, I've got it.
Lovely. And then the next pub is The Two-Headed Dog, and that's the pub where they have the really like weird / creepy fight with the twins in the pub garden.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That really
that's
surreal fight.
That's really bizarre.
So two-headed dog.
Yeah.
Again,
of course.
makes sense.
Yeah.
The next pub was the Mermaid.
Yeah.
Which was like the disco pub.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so the three women in the disco, which were otherwise known as the Marmalade Sandwich, the redhead between two blondes.
Yeah.
They're there clearly represented as sirens, women of the water.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Basically clouding the minds of the group.
Yeah, because they distract them, don't they?
Yeah. Hence the Mermaid.
Mermaid, perfect.
The Beehive is the next pub, and that's basically they've just punched the Beehive, and it's where the biggest bar fight of the film takes place.
Yeah. Where shit get.
Yeah, basically where
real.
Shit absolutely hits the fan, and it seems like every villager from the last mile has just descended onto this pub and is trying to beat the shit out of them. Next is the King's Head. Before this one's a bit of a stretch, as it doesn't actually happen in the pub, and rather before they get to that pub.
Yeah.
So it happens in between the Beehive and the King's Head. And this is when they're running away from all the robots, and they go into their little hidey house that they used to smoke weed in.
Yeah.
Back in the day. And they basically split apart and then regroup at this hut. So they basically want proof that neither one of them are a robot or a replicant.
Yeah.
And so Gary King, second name King, repeatedly bangs his head against the wall to prove that he's not a robot.
It's a bit,
so
that's
the King's
a bit of a
Head.
stretch, but hey,
bit of a stretch, good, bit of a stretch.
You've got to have a King's Head, haven't you, in a pub, in the pub crawl.
Exactly, bit of a stretch, but it I think they just about get away with it.
Yeah.
Just. The next pub is called The Hole in the Wall.
Yeah.
And it was when one of them drives through the pub wall so that they can make their escape. Drives a car through the pub wall so that they can get out and drive off to the last pub, which was the World's End, which is pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
I found that massively interesting.
Yeah.
I watched that video and was like, oh, fuck, I never realised that.
Yeah, because you probably, because like, you don't really pay attention to the name of the pub.
No,
you? Like, you're concentrating on the action. And actually, the second time round. I think obviously World's End is obvious, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
I think a couple of them maybe the first time I did actually pick up on maybe one or two of them, but like didn't necessarily think that they were doing it for every single one. But yeah. That's quite cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Like that. What time are we on? We should probably...
We'll wrap it up.
Yeah, it's probably.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely should wrap it up. Fuck me.
It's fine. So okay, so that's basically the Cornetto Trilogy. It is still one of my favourite trilogies ever. If I had to list them right now, it's still difficult for me, to be honest. I think Shaun of the Dead will always be a favourite of mine.
Yeah,
because it was the first one I watched, and I remember
it?
watching it like over and over and over again, and
Yeah.
it was great. Hot Fuzz was my third, but the more I watch it, the more I really, really enjoy it.
Yeah, I think you spot more things, don't you?
Yeah.
And that's the same for all of them, I think. Really, you keep spotting
Exactly.
things that
And
you
The
didn't
World's
notice
End for a long time after it came out was my favourite. But over the years, it does slowly start to go down and down and down a bit more.
Yeah.
Like, it's still great. I still love it. But
yeah, the other ones just peak it, don't they?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that probably is just like because they are so like I said, films so close together that they've just got both kind of got their that same feeling about them, don't they?
The one more thing I want to point out about all three, and I do include all three in this one, is the editing of these films are as much of a character as everyone else is.
Oh yeah,
the editing in these are what I think put Egner right on the map.
Definitely.
His editing,
his cinematography, everything is just fantastic.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, I definitely agree. He's fantastic, and that's why you need to watch Baby Driver, Saul.
I will watch Baby Driver. I keep meaning to do so, and I just keep putting it off. And I'm not really sure why.
The first fucking shot of the film is enough to go, yep, this is Edgar Wright. It's literally Edgar Wright saying, "Oh, by the way, did you forget it was me?" No, you definitely won't. This is Edgar Wright. So yeah.
Lovely. Well, that was the Cornetto Trilogy, and if for whatever reason you have sat through this entire thing and haven't watched the trilogy, I'd highly recommend it.
Yeah,
it's great.
Definitely do it. And definitely go from start to finish.
Yeah, definitely. All right. I think that about wraps it up.
Sweet.
Right, Shall we move on to Entertainment Exchange?
Yeah, the Entertainment Exchange. So, obviously, last podcast, if you listened, we swapped, we exchanged two forms of entertainment. So I gave Saul the Lamb of God documentary As the Palaces Burn, and Saul gave me the musical of War of the Worlds. So we're going to start off with that. Yes. So Saul, would you like to introduce
War of the Worlds are live on stage
at the O2.
At the O2. Okay, so just to fill in general knowledge, War of the Worlds was originally a book. And then after that, War of the Worlds became an episode of American radio drama. And it was an anthology series done by the Mercury Theatre. It was performed as a Halloween special of a series on Sunday, 30th of October 1938. And it aired over Columbia Broadcasting Station radio network. And what makes that interesting was this was 1938.
Yeah.
And people took it seriously.
Yeah. They were like, "Oh my god, it's real! Quick!"
Yeah. They thought Martians were genuinely attacking Earth
because it was that good, wasn't it?
And
it was that
believable. It was that believable. And like, obviously, 1938, they didn't have things like the internet back then, so they couldn't really fact check anything and make sure that none of it was fake.
Yeah.
So as far as they were concerned, the radio was the be all end all, and they were shitting themselves basically. Oh my god, the Martians are coming, run away. I believe this started riots.
Yeah, it caused a lot of problems, didn't it?
It did. So that's a nice little bit of trivia for you.
I love that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And then Jeff Wayne turned it into a musical.
Yeah.
It was... The debut album was done by Jeff Wayne, retailing the story of War of the Worlds. By H.G. Wells, who was the person who wrote the original book.
Yeah, he wrote the original bit, yeah.
And since then, it's done incredibly well. That album did incredibly well. That album has now been moved to like a full-fledged O2 arena sellout musical, basically.
Which you've seen?
Which I have seen. I was fortunate enough to be there for not the last show, but the last year of the show being around. I think it's taken some time off. I think it might be coming back soon, but I'm not too sure.
They normally say like the final tour, but then it's like,
I'm
actually
wearing my War of the Worlds t-shirt that I brought there, and you can see on it that it does say Final Arena Tour.
Yeah.
I have no doubt in saying that it'll be coming back. They'll need money.
Yeah.
And then they'll come back again.
I like the monies.
Exactly.
I like the monies.
This musical is quite personal to me, because it was one of my dad's favourite musicals.
Yeah.
He absolutely loved it to the stage where they would come to London. It would arrive in London, like it would do its tour, but it would finish up in London in December. And December was when my dad's birthday was, so his yearly birthday present to himself was he would buy a ticket to go and see this yearly.
Nice.
So yeah, it holds a lot of meaning to me for sure, and is probably a lot of the reasons why it is one of my favourite musicals.
Yeah.
But what did you think of that?
So, I'll just go through my notes.
Yeah, of course.
I'll just keep going through them. So, opening theme, amazing. Like, it got my blood pumping. Like, I was like that. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. The chances of anything coming from Mars
are 1,000,000 to 1, they said.
Yeah, literally, I was like singing that all weekend after because I watched it.
Yes.
Loved it. Amazing. Moving on from that, then you see the Martians talking and saying, like, we need to go to Earth and things like that. Didn't like that.
No,
I thought, so straight away, right? I'm just gonna come out and say it straight away.
Yeah.
I had never. The first time I'd seen anything of All the Worlds was the Tom Cruise film.
we try not to think about that.
Well,
that was awful.
okay, so you say that, right?
Okay.
But I actually really liked it.
Okay, fair enough.
I liked it. Okay, and straight off the bat, I don't think it ventures that far away from the story. Actually, it sticks to the story pretty well. The Tom Cruise version.
I will give it that. I think
because that's normally the problem with these Hollywood remakes is that they do stretch it far. I mean, obviously it's in America, so that I think that probably if it is done in Britain, like it's obviously because it's set in the UK, I think it would have been a lot better if they had done it if they had done a British version of it, then that would have been better.
Fair. I personally can't stand the film.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that stems, honestly, because I look at War of the Worlds as a musical and not a film.
But I bet there are some people that like the radio series and the play and don't like the musical.
Yeah, I'd be willing to bet there probably is.
So I think that you'd probably find some people that really like the film that hate the musical because it's like it's a musical. I want to see like Martians going bang 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 and shooting people and shit.
Yeah. I mean, it still does that in the stage performance.
Yeah, but not to the extent of
not to the extent.
Let's be honest, Saul. The graphics aren't great in that first scene in comparison to like
they do need to update them a little bit.
Yeah.
I've actually got the DVD of the show previous to this.
Yeah.
The one I gave you, and the graphics are even worse there.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. But I mean, they're not. I mean, they're good, but they're not great.
They're serviceable.
Yeah.
I think is probably the best way to put it.
But yeah, I kind of feel like that actually. Because in the War of the Worlds, in the Tom Cruise one, obviously you come down, and I feel like you're living it a bit more as the humans because you don't really know why they're coming. They don't say it in the film why they're coming. They just come and they kill everybody.
The problem is, of course, the humans.
Yeah, and I kind of felt like that it took me out of it a bit. Like I didn't need to know why the Martians were coming, because then it makes it scarier when you don't know why they're killing. They could just be killing you just for fun, you know.
Yeah.
You don't know why they're killing you, but if you know that it's because their planet's dying, bless them, then it's like
okay. Yeah, no, so, I get as someone who saw the film before the musical, I can understand where you're coming from. Definitely.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know whether if I hadn't seen the film, that it would be different. I don't know.
I don't know, to be honest.
But yeah. Carrying on from my list, Liam Neeson, fantastic. Love his performance. I didn't think he'd be in it that much. I thought he'd be in it, but actually he's in it more than the singers.
The technology used to put that on stage. Basically, Liam Neeson plays the journalist in it, and he's a 3D hologram throughout the entire thing.
I'd love to see that live. I'd love to see it.
It was amazing.
Especially it translates live.
Yeah, especially the bit that astounded me was the fact that the people on stage, physically on stage, were interacting with Liam Neeson.
Yeah, they hand him
so
things,
well.
Don't they?
I think Liam Neeson hands the artilleryman a glass of water at one stage, and then he's just got a glass of water, and you sat there going, "How the fuck did he do that?"
That's great. So I loved that. The music was good. Really did enjoy the music, especially enjoyed the initial Martian attack when they used like the various motifs.
Yeah.
So obviously like when the Martian was shooting out the ray, then they'd have one bit of music, and then when the Martian was looking out, and then you'd see then like they'd have the Martian.
Yes.
The only thing I felt like that a lot of it was repeated over and over again, too much. It was the same. I looked at my phone and I was like, "Is this still going on? This scene?" And personally, I feel like that it is the same motif. And I know that a lot of rock music is like that, but I was just a bit like, "This is going on a bit too long." I get it.
I can understand that. Like I love the musical greatly. Even I can sit there and go, a couple of the riffs are just minutes too long.
Yeah. Like that song just went on for ages, and I was like, you know what? I get it. They're being killed. Can we move on now, please? And even like the singing, I mean, like that, the chances of anything coming from Mars are 1,000,000 to 1. They said the chances of anything coming from Mars are 1,000,000 to 1, but still they come.
Yeah,
that's it. That's the lyrics in the song.
Yeah.
Same with all the other songs.
I think it's primarily orchestral, this musical.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but I feel like that if you go to see like an opera or an actual orchestral thing, you will have different things to keep you interested. It won't be the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
There'll be motifs that they'll come back to, but it'll be like a chorus, and then they'll have like a different verse, as it were.
The one song that annoys me in this is the No Nathaniel. It goes on for
No Nathaniel. Yeah, I didn't like that. Yeah, I didn't
like
that
I
at
liked it the first time, but then it keeps going and going and going.
Yeah,
and
it does.
It does start to grind on you a bit.
And I felt like that kind of was like that for most of them for me, apart from the opening theme, the Chance of Anything. I love that.
Even Forever Autumn.
That was quite nice. Yeah? Actually, that was quite beautiful. Actually,
do you want to know something quite beautiful? Actually, and sorry if it brings the tone down a little bit.
Come on, bring the tone down, Saul.
Sorry, briefly, but it is quite beautiful. That song was used to end my dad's funeral.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's
genuinely.
amazing. That's
and it's
really
a beautiful song.
Yeah. It's lovely.
It's really nice.
That is lovely.
Also, in the live performance, halfway through that song, they had Autumn Leaves fall from the O2 Arena.
Yeah,
it was great.
Oh, that's awesome. So I liked I loved the live mix of the mix of live band and singers with pyrotechnics and the lights and the alien craft, the
machine,
projector, the
machine was great.
Yeah.
What I will say though about that machine, it looked phenomenal. It was absolutely fantastic when it spouted the fire.
Yeah.
I was really quite far back in the O2.
Yeah.
I could feel the heat from there.
Shit.
And so I was like, I think they've just cooked the front row.
Well, how the hell does Jeff Wayne feel?
Yeah, I know, he's right underneath.
I'm pretty sure he's like bald on the top, isn't he? Is that why?
It might be. The amount of times he's done the show, it might just be that it's singed all his hair off.
Yes, I've said about the animation is a bit shit, but it didn't necessarily. But actually, to be fair, I don't think I'd want it to change that much because it kind of would lose its charm a little bit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want a massive production because then it's like this is basically what it's almost would have been like in the 60s or whatever whenever it came out. Then I go on to story. The story is really good, and I think that it does. Like I said, does actually follow. The Tom Cruise movie does actually follow the story pretty well.
Yeah.
They add in extra bits, but obviously they'd have to because if they followed the actual story of the musical,
it wouldn't be long enough.
It would be about 20 minutes.
Yeah. Do you have a favourite character at all?
Well, I mean, it's got me Liam Neeson, really.
I loved Liam Neeson, but I like the artilleryman myself.
Yeah, I did until he started singing, and I don't like his singing voice.
That's true. I meant the character.
Oh yeah, the character was
itself
great.
Absolutely shows the fall of man. Like when you see him to begin with, he's so full of hope and so full of we can do this, we can take them on. And by the time you see him in the second half, he's like, we've lost, we can't do this. We need to bury ourselves underground and never come out again.
Yeah. I can see that. But yeah, his song just annoyed me. He couldn't hit the notes, and it really.
Oh yeah, the high note he couldn't quite hit.
God, fucking hell! Because I was like, oh, cool, it's from the Kaiser Chiefs. That'll be cool. And then nope.
Well, it's exactly the same as. Have you seen the latest rendition? I think you might have of Jesus Christ Superstar, the one with Tim Minchin as. Yeah. And one of the Jonas Brothers plays. Who was it? Yeah, and he just. Like he
Simon Peter. Did he play Simon Peter?
I think so, yeah. And like he wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
But compared to the people who
done it before,
had done like Alfie Boe, for instance, and like compared to all of the other people who were in it, they absolutely outshone him.
He's a name. At the end of the day, he's a name, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Donny Osmond was pretty good. I liked his singing.
Yeah.
But I didn't like the character. The character annoyed me to high hell. It's funny because she's a priest. Overall, really enjoyed it. Story was great, music was great, production was great. just could have done with a bit of extra changes in music. If I'm honestly, if it just like, you know, a couple of extra motifs in the songs, or even just half some of the songs, personally, that would have been great for me. I liked it. I don't know whether I could sit for it live, personally. I think I could listen to the soundtrack. I think I could have the soundtrack on in the background.
Nice.
Even though I just said I like the music went on, but like I think,
but
yeah,
that's
it's
that's the kind of thing that you could have on.
You could have in the background, couldn't you? You know, and that opening theme, I love that.
Oh, it's one of the best opening themes to anything I've seen.
It's
really,
so good.
It just wham. It
and I'm
throws
sure,
you right into
and I feel like I have heard it before.
Probably.
And I think
it's quite a well-known thing.
The funny thing is, right, so I hadn't heard I've definitely heard the dun dun dun.
Yeah.
But I hadn't heard the chances of anything coming from Mars. The actual song I haven't heard. But I don't know if you ever watched Alan Partridge.
A little bit here and there.
But he used to he comes in his TV series and he'd sing some songs like to himself as he comes into the thing.
Yeah.
And one of the songs he comes in to sing is "The chances of anything coming from Mars are 1,000,000 to 1," they said. You know, and every time that sung it, I was like, oh, just reminds me of Alan Partridge. But that's a plus for me, personally.
Brilliant. Nice.
So, yeah.
So the next tour that comes around, then, you want Alan Partridge to come in and sing
that
I do. Live, yeah?
I do. I don't know if he'd sing the other song. It's just nice. So he can just sing that song. It's fine.
Just cameo in it.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Cool. So that's my thoughts on War of the Worlds.
Fantastic. I mean, again, personally, if you haven't seen it and you're a fan of musicals, I would advise maybe at least watching it once.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's definitely different to most musicals because it's more of an orchestral piece and a theatre piece rather than like, you know, I'm going to break into song now.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have some talking. It's not that. It's not that at all. But
I think that's why it isn't technically labelled as a musical. The tour itself was live on stage.
Yeah. But yeah, I would recommend it.
Fantabby-dozy.
So, shall we move on to something completely different?
And now for something completely different.
We will move on to As the Palaces Burn, which I gave to Saul. So, As the Palaces Burn.
Yes.
Hang on, sorry. For a burp. No, wait. Oh, pathetic.
Beautiful.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, wait.
Fucking hell. This is why the podcasts are too long, because we just spend so much time burping or doing all this shit. Right. Okay, so, As the Palaces Burn. Directed by Don Argot. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. It might be Don Argo. I don't know. As the Palaces Burn is a feature-length documentary that originally sought to follow the band Lamb of God and their fans throughout the world to demonstrate how music ties us together when we can't find any other common bond. Spoilers ahead. However, during the filming process in 2012, the story abruptly took a dramatic turn, bringing the band into a living nightmare when lead singer Randy Blythe was arrested on charges of manslaughter, blamed for the death of one of their young fans in the Czech Republic. What followed was a heart-wrenching courtroom drama that left fans, friends, and curious onlookers around the world on the edge of their seats. So, when I gave it to Saul, I actually said to him, I was like, don't read the blurb. Don't look anything up about it.
I didn't.
Just watch it.
I was a good boy.
You were a good boy. And the thing is, I mean, Saul, you're not, I mean, like we said last time, like, you've heard Lamb of God, you've listened to them.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say I'm a massive fan. I wouldn't religiously go out of my way.
No. And I think, personally, I think this documentary stands alone as not a fan of Lamb of God. So,
yeah, without a doubt.
I'll just pass over to you and see what do you think?
Well, the first thing I will say, and I'll make no apology of this, is I like a good documentary film. I really do.
I did. I'm exactly the same.
I spent most of my time bedbound last week just watching odd documentaries on YouTube.
The best thing to do.
And that got me by. So yeah, no, I make no apology. I'm the person who, once I've watched a film 2 or 3 times, will go out of their way to find the bonus features and watch how it was made, how it was done, and all of the stuff behind the scene, because it interests me massively. And so I came into this basically being like, oh, it's a documentary film. It's going to be really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'll love it. And I did really enjoy it, genuinely.
Cool. Yay.
Yay!
Awesome.
Yeah. So, I believe Lamb of God As the Palace Burn, wasn't that an album name as well?
It was, it was. It was an old... I don't know, I'm not quite sure why. I think it was like an anniversary of As the Palaces Burn. Because they were touring Resolution at this time, I think, which is then not the last album, but the album before. And I think probably they called it As the Palaces Burn because like it's literally like they felt like that they're like the band was about to burn up and die.
Yeah, and they explain that really well in this, and I will get to that in a bit.
Yeah.
Without doubt. First thing I want to point out really quick that made me very, very, very happy and giddy inside was that Slash was in it.
I knew you'd love that.
Really happy.
I knew you'd love that bit.
As someone who is a massive Slash fan, again via my dad, I was named after him, and I've got the tattoo on my ribs of his logo. Yeah, that made me happy. That's great.
He's a big fan, Lamb of God, you know.
Yeah.
So.
And what was really refreshing to see was the amount of... trying to find a way to explain this. The amount of people who supported Lamb of God who I wouldn't stereotypically register as a metal fan.
No.
Like, it's not the way I think, but I think it's a way that a lot of people think. When they think metal fans, they think people, black hair, eyeliner, really aggressive. You're
talking about the fans that they sort of, because they go around the world, don't they? And they and I think that shows how it's not just this one person that listens to metal. They're not all these scary people. They are just people that have like this. Yeah, you can like this music. It's fine.
It showed a couple. It went from a taxi driver in Colombia who's still feeling the effects of a drug war and uses metal music to help heal him from that. And that was really nice to see. Was quite hilarious just having him like absolutely turn up to 11 like metal music in his cabbie while just driving around.
Yeah, I love it.
I was like, cool, well, we know what cabbie Adam is getting into if he ever ends up in Colombia.
I can't imagine myself ever going to Colombia, to be honest.
But if you do, you know which cab to get into.
I do.
So it goes from that to a woman struggling with a poverty-driven life in India who's being judged for the way she chooses to look. So tattoos, piercings, etc.
Yeah, it's very frowned upon in that sort of
massively
country.
Frowned upon. But she's also part of a metal band herself, I believe.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
One of two females in India to be part of a metal.
Well, and this is the thing as well. Like, there's just not that many in metal. Sadly, there's definitely not that many women. It's getting better, and there's certainly not any women of color. Like, there's not that many. There's maybe it's very, very sparse. And for me, there's a scene in the documentary where she's listening to a song on her iPod in the cab in a cab on the way to band practice, and it's actually a song called "Walk With Me in Hell," and she's like listening to it, and she's obviously looking at the lyrics.
Basically like, fuck,
and she's like, "Oh my god, this is so good!"
You can tell she's so enveloped with it.
And this is and "Walk With Me in Hell" is one of my favourite songs. It's actually like I love it. It got me through some tough times. When I saw Lamb of God live play it, I actually started crying because it's such a powerful song. The lyrics and things like that.
I was about to ask, actually, you've seen Lamb of God live?
Yeah, I've seen them 3 times now, nice. And they are fantastic. And it's just, and that for me was like, oh my god, like, this is a woman on the other side of the world, and I've literally have done exactly the same thing as her, like when she's listening to Lamb of God. And that for me was like, wow, that unity of metal fans and things like that.
Yeah,
that was amazing for me.
Well, yeah, that was the main thing I picked up from the beginning of this film, and what really pleasantly surprised me is the wide range of people who listen to this band from all walks of life, from all four corners of the globe that unite through this band, even though they might not do the same things, like have the same jobs, come from the same background. Like this and metal music in general is what unites them, and it was really refreshing to see. And it would be a documentary that I'd advise people to watch who want to have a better understanding of what metal music is and what it means to people. So people who might not sort of necessarily understand metal music and just looks at it as aggressive, shouty nonsense, for a better word, is what quite a few people turn around and judge it as. I would advise them to watch this documentary so they get a better understanding of what it is and what it means to people.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah. Before I move on to the more serious stuff of the podcast, the fact that the drummer drove a Toyota Prius tickled me a little bit.
Yeah, I know, right? Chris Adler.
Yeah, I was just like, that's kind of funny. But it lent on to quite a good point of just because they're part of a really successful rock band doesn't mean that they're, driving their Ferraris and their big ass cars and their big ass houses and driving a yacht, and no, they're getting by. They're getting quite admirably.
It's a job. It's a job that everybody else has got.
Exactly.
They don't earn as big bucks as they used to. It's not. They're not fucking footballers.
No.
But yeah, I like that as well. And him saying goodbye to his kids. That's lovely.
Yeah, that was great. I've also got here that it showed quite well, especially sort of in their younger years, that they didn't always get on. Yeah. They're better now. They're great now through what happened. Yeah. But they weren't always buddy. It reminded me of Guns N' Roses, actually, which is one of my favourite bands, where everyone couldn't stand Axl Rose. It's why Slash left. Yeah. Because he just couldn't hack it anymore.
They do say, don't they, at the beginning, we don't get on, we're not friends or anything, like we're in a band, we're not super buddy, but then the way that it moves on, no, you are friends. You guys do get on.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it was at I'll come on to it a bit more later, but it was that airport scene when he's coming back.
Yeah, oh man. Yeah.
Touched me really badly, actually. It was like, oh yeah, shit, no, he's got, they are more than just a band at this stage.
You do, as a band, you do get close like that, you do become friends. You'll have your arguments, but friends have arguments,
So, moving on to the serious stuff, I obviously watched the very beginning of it, and I didn't read the blur, so I didn't know what was coming. So I settled in comfortably for, this is just going to be a documentary about the fans and their backgrounds and what they do, and it will continue like that, and it'll be lovely. And it's actually what the lead singer, what's his name again? Randy. It's what he turned around about 3/4 of the way through the documentary and said, that's what I wanted it to be about. Yeah. I wanted it to be about the fans and what it means to them and what metal music means to them and how it drives them. Yeah. It just turned into a shit show. Mm-hmm. So they landed in Prague. Yeah. And a shit show ensued, and they got arrested at the airport. All of them to begin with.
Did that scene not just send a shiver down your spine?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. For something that happened 2 years ago, which I find mental, by the way.
It's insane.
The fact that it was basically radio silence for 2 years, no one followed it up, no one called them, no one contacted them, and then they just straight up got arrested by a riot squad at the airport.
It's a power thing, I think, at the end of the day. I think it's Prague saying, actually, no, we're gonna fucking arrest this metal band, these evil metal band people, and show them who's boss.
Yeah,
these Americans.
Randy gets arrested on suspicion of manslaughter from a fan running on stage and Randy allegedly pushing him off into the audience. What really made me respect Randy and the entire band is that at no point, they turned around and said, this is a really shit situation, we're in a really shit situation, but no point did they put any blame on the family
No.
Or that they turned around and went, we're just really sad that one of our fans died at our show.
Yeah.
And that fucking sucks. There was no passing the blame. There was nothing like that.
Like,
they
fuck
were just
you. Like, how dare you say this
exactly.
shit to me?
They were the thing. Apart from getting Randy out of jail, their next agenda was, we want to make amends for this family because they must be going through hell, which I really respected.
Yeah,
like, massively so.
Definitely.
It's such a mature way of handling it.
Randy, I think, really just shines in this film.
Yeah.
I mean, like, obviously I've watched, like their previous documentaries, What With Me in Hell and things like that, when he is like going through his drug
he's going
addiction
through alcohol abuse and drug addiction.
Yeah. And, seeing him just now and like when it all ended and things like that.
That must be a real kick to the dick. Like, you come clean, you do really well with your life, you come off of alcohol, you come off of drugs, and then you're hit with this.
Yeah.
Like, that has got to suck. But the thing is,
when it all ended, I mean, he says it in the documentary, like, look, I'm not going to run away, I'm going to face the music, But when it all ended, like, he put out a statement, obviously when, like, he, spoilers, when he gets acquitted of all charges, he said, guys, this isn't a victory, okay? No. Like, at the end of the day, someone died, and I feel terrible. It happened at one of our gigs, and whether I was directly responsible or not, we were responsible. Like, it's our band, sort of thing. And he said, like, look, if I'd gone to prison, that's okay. Like, okay, it would have been awful, but I had to pay the price for what, but, like, I had to, if that's what the judge, the judicial system decides, then
so be it. Yeah.
And that is just amazingly brave.
Yeah. So, sort of the rest of the documentary leads into this. So it's basically the band trying to collect up legal fees to help Randy out, protests, free Randy, all that jazz. And yeah, the one thing this probably hit me the hardest in the entire film was the uncle of the victim, his speech in court.
Yeah.
That really, really hit me, because there's like no background music at that stage. It's all like completely silent, and you saw Randy's face just drop as he's having everything translated to him about what the uncle is saying, and it's heartbreaking. It is like absolutely heartbreaking. And even when he was acquitted, and it was translated to him that he was acquitted, there was no smile, there was no fist pump, there was nothing. It was just okay, cool, that's a thing. This is still really shit though.
Yeah, because it's like it's not a victory. It's not, like you said. It's just crap.
Yeah,
the whole situation is shit.
Yeah. But this situation is what absolutely brought them together, and they are now definitely much more than just a band.
Oh yeah,
without a doubt. Like it was this situation, sort of this. I don't want to say final nail in the coffin, because that's probably the wrong.
Yeah, it's the wrong phrase. It's not the ending, is it?
It was this situation that cemented them as more than a band.
Yeah. I think one of my other favourite scenes is when they play at Knotfest, the Slipknot festival.
Yeah.
And then when it's their first gig after Randy
he got released.
Yeah, he's not been acquitted at this point, but he's been like released on bail, so they can tour.
Yeah, because the bail just went up and up and up and up.
Yeah,
like, the check were relentless.
Yeah, they were awful, and I think this is why it's more like it's them that were trying to get it, like him fucked, not necessarily the family.
No, actually, the family were
they just wanted justice.
They just wanted justice, and they wanted the truth and an explanation of what happened.
Yeah, of course.
Which Randy, to his best of his ability, wanted to give them.
Yeah, of course. He wanted to say, look, I didn't do this.
He turned around from day one and said, like, I don't care about the whole court thing. I don't care how it goes. I don't care what the end verdict is. I just want that family to know what happened, and I want to tell them the truth to the best of my ability.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Because I was 2 years ago. 2 years ago,
you're asking. And they've done thousands more gigs since then. I'd assume.
Definitely. Like he said, and every gig is the same. But yeah, sorry. Going back to my point, one of my favourite bits is when they play Knotfest, and it's the first gig they're playing, and then everyone's just shouting Randy, Randy,
Yeah.
and he comes out
Yeah.
on stage.
And the eruption is
the
mental.
Oh my god! And if anything just shows you metal unity, because the thing is, if you're at a festival, most of the people are obviously definitely at the front are going to be there to see Lamb of God.
Yeah, but
a
if
lot
it's a
of people...
festival, like, and not a lot of people aren't going to be there specifically for that band.
No, definitely not. You know, and at Knotfest, they're going to be there to see Slipknot. You know.
Yeah.
But it was packed, and it doesn't matter. They were all there, and they're all shouting Randy's name.
Yeah.
And like, thank God he's out and he's safe and he's home, and it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
If that doesn't show the camaraderie of metal fans, then I don't know what will, frankly.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that for me is like, yeah, that was one of my favorite bits.
Overall, I really enjoyed the documentary. It started well and then turned in a direction I did not expect it to turn into. I didn't
Which
see
is what I was hoping for.
Yeah,
really.
I didn't see that one coming a mile off.
I mean, the thing is, I knew before the documentary, because obviously I've been following the story. I knew what was going to happen, and even then, that scene when they come in the thing, and it's like, and then we landed in Prague.
Yeah.
It's like, you're like, okay, we landed in Prague. Then what? And then all this shit kicks off. Even now, I was like, I watched it again, like maybe the third time, and it's still like just goes. It hits me. It's insane.
Absolutely.
Because it's so scary. Like
they turned around and said, "Oh, the police came on board," and I was like, "That seems a bit odd. What are they going to try and bust him for drugs or something to begin with? Because they're the stereotypical metal band. Blah blah blah. They must be coked up on something." And no, it went in a direction I absolutely did not see coming.
And it's amazing, really, that they. Oh God, this whole thing was it was a shit show, really. That I mean, I was following it. And I
can't imagine what that must have been like as like a fan.
Yeah, but then like they released their album afterwards, Sturm and Drang. Don't ask me what it translates as. I think it's Storm and something. And there's songs obviously about that on it. 512 is about like him being in a Czech prison, and it's like, you know, and it's amazing. Like it's like, oh God, you can feel like, because he said like how shit it was.
Yeah.
I'd recommend that. I'll send you the link for the song.
Yeah, definitely. I'll look into it. But overall, I definitely enjoyed watching it. It was definitely an eye opener into a world that I'm not always too familiar about. So it was nice. Nice
one. Awesome. Well, that was what I was hoping for. So we did it.
Lovely.
Sweet. Okay, so we'll exchange. I think we should exchange
our next
one.
Stuff.
Saul is going to go first because I I've got two things, but I don't know. I'm going to see what you give me, and then sneakily going to give you like something that's different, because I think I know what you're going to give me.
Yeah, this might be a clue. It leads on from the Cornetto.
Yeah, you know what? I knew you were going to do this. So this, okay, I know.
I messaged Adam yesterday. Because we usually do for this, we usually give each other maybe 3 or 4 things, and if we have read, played, watched one of them, then we let them know, and we narrow it down to something that we haven't seen or played or read. And I gave him 4 options, and he came back to me going, "Yeah, I've done none of this." And one of them, I was like, "Wait, what?
Yeah,
are you kidding me?" It really surprised me. So my entertainment exchange for you, give me 2 secs.
Yeah, I know what this is. I'm really excited though. Yeah. I've always meant. Yeah, I'm sure if it is, unless it's a massive curveball, in which case
is Spaced.
Yes.
Which I've got the first series and the second series. I only did 2 series, and it's the TV program that Edgar Wright, Nick Frost and Simon Pegg were in before the Cornetto Trilogy started, and this is sort of, I don't know, I guess practice for the Cornetto Trilogy, but it's fantastic. It was on Channel 4. Only did 2 seasons because Edgar Wright did the right thing and basically ended it before it could get bad.
Yeah.
He basically ran out of ideas and went, "Cool, I'm going to stop now then," which is rare.
Yeah.
So here we are, first and second series.
Sweet. Gimme. Sweet. Okay, so actually, I was initially See, I don't know. So, would you like something that is completely different, like to this? So not a TV series, or would you like a TV series and we can talk about TV series next week? What do you want to do?
Let's have a TV series.
Let's have a TV series.
Why
Okay,
not?
cool.
Why not?
So, in that case, I have got for you.
Ooh.
Bottom.
Nice.
Seasons 1 to 3.
Okay.
Yeah, it's obviously Rick Mayall, R.I.P., and Ade Edmondson, and I mean a lot of people will probably go for Young Ones over Bottom, but I watched Bottom first, and
Fair enough.
I find it a bit funnier. I think it's a bit more accessible than Young Ones, personally.
Okay.
Fight me, I don't care.
To be fair, I haven't watched Young Ones either, so I can't fight you.
No. I'll talk about any viewers out there that might disagree. But yeah, so it's fucking stupid. It really is stupid.
I love stupid.
But
already
it's
sounds like my thing.
It's absolutely hilarious. And actually, we've got a question that we can move on to.
Oh, yes, we do.
Actually, I would like to. I think, seeing as what we've got here, would actually kind of lead on to something that I'm going to say about Bottom.
Again, this comes from my Discord group. This comes from someone called Jade.
So we'll finish on this question.
Yes.
I think.
The question is it necessary to watch/play a series in order?
So, Saul, Spaced, watch it in order?
I did watch it in order, yes.
Yeah? So would you say watch it in order for me? Or do you think it might be a good idea just...
Honestly, I think that episodes are so random and all over the place. I'd be inclined to say watch the first episode to get your basic understanding of the premise.
Yeah.
And past that, I think they kind of each episode plays out their own little story thing.
Yeah.
Like, it is lightly connected to a whole series, but not enough for you to be religiously watching it in order, I don't think.
No. I obviously, and like, there obviously are some series that you have to watch in order, aren't there? Like Breaking Bad and Orange is the New Black.
Yeah.
Things like that. You have to watch them in order.
I find, like, TV stuff, like Spaced and Black Books, Red Dwarf, stuff like that. Yeah. Like TV-related stuff.
Red Dwarf, I'd probably argue that you probably would have to watch it in order.
Yeah, probably.
Kind of.
Okay, sort of sitcom-y stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely. You could get away with not watching it as
even
a series.
something like Friends, you could probably jump in halfway through and still
probably.
figure out
You
what's
still pick
going
it
on,
up
couldn't
and
you?
work out what's going on.
Yeah.
The same goes for How I Met Your Mother or stuff like that.
Yeah, I think How I Met Your Mother, I think you get more out of it if you and again with Friends, you get more out of it if you've watched it from start to finish.
But it's not going to completely lose you.
No, you're still going to enjoy it. You're still going to be able to like watch halfway through and then go, actually, you know what, I might go back and watch the beginning. Like, so it's not going to spoil it. But yeah, obviously there are some that you need to watch from the beginning.
Movies, depends what it is. Cornetto Trilogy, for instance, you don't have to watch that in order at all.
No, you can watch
they're three completely separate films. I don't know. What would you say, like Lord of the Rings, something like that?
Yeah, Lord of the Rings you'd have to watch in order. Really.
Yeah,
I think not. I don't think you did. You wouldn't need to watch The Hobbit first, would you? Really,
no,
to watch it?
because
I think
no one really watches The Hobbit.
No,
so.
no one watches The Hobbit. And then it's kind of for like because my dad and my dad has never seen like Star Wars or the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And like my brother wanted to watch it, and like he said, well, we got to start from episode 1, right?
Not necessarily.
And I said, no, do not start with episode 1 Star Wars because it doesn't exist. Okay.
No.
There are only 3 Star Wars.
If you watch episode 1 and and you've never watched a Star Wars film before, and you start on episode 1, you'll never watch any of the others.
No. So I said, no, start with episode 4 and then go through it, and then if you really, really want to watch episode 1, and then you'll go, God, why did I do that? Or just watch the Darth Maul fight.
Yeah. You can watch that on YouTube. It's really easy to get hold of.
Yeah. So just watch
it's
that.
The best thing of the film.
With Bottom, I was going to say, like, obviously it's 3 series, so there's a lot. I mean, but what I might do is I might give you, like, sort of some episodes to watch and say, like, if you don't have the chance to watch in the entire series, or because obviously the first series is a bit more, like, it's not as good, but series 2 and 3 are fantastic. I'd say that, so I'll probably give you a couple of episodes to watch that I reckon you'll enjoy, and then if you want to, then you can go from start to finish. I might do that because Max did that once with me with a series called Coupling.
Okay.
Have you ever seen that?
No, I have not.
It was written by Stephen Moffat, actually, who did.
Really? Okay.
It's pretty good. It's all right. It's not fantastic. It definitely gets worse in the later series. But what he did was Max showed me the first episode, and then because it introduces the characters, and then he skipped to season 2, and then showed me a really, really funny episode that's it's brilliant. And so he said, "So now I've introduced you to it. Now I'll show you a funny episode that shows you how good this show can get. Now you can watch it from start to finish." So I'll probably do that with Bottom for you because because it's so nonsensical. You don't really need to know much about it.
Lovely.
Sweet
Indeed. Quickly, while we're on the subject of the question, games. Play them in series if there's more of.
Yeah, I probably would do. Yeah.
I tend to disagree.
Really?
Well, yeah. Life is Strange, for instance, the prequel came out for that, and I would honestly recommend playing the first one first.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that the Before the Storm is a prequel to it.
Yes, actually, I suppose there are some that would work better. Just doing the you're really banging that mic.
I really am, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose Kingdom Hearts and things like that. I think you probably could, to be honest, jump in Kingdom Hearts.
Probably. Same with
and 3.
Assassin's Creed.
Mainly
it's so different to one another that you can play any of them without playing previous ones.
Yeah, and also the plots in Kingdom Hearts is just so fucking nonsensical anyway.
The plots
it's
in
so
ridiculous.
You have no idea what the hell's going on anyway.
They're about as ridiculous as the supposed timeline for Zelda.
Yeah.
Which is actually 3 separate timelines.
Yeah. So would you say you wouldn't say play all the Zelda games in?
No, absolutely.
There's too many of them, isn't there?
No. If you have never played a Zelda game before and you were to start today, I would recommend the latest one, Breath of the Wild. Yeah. And if you like that, then try a few other ones beforehand.
Ocarina of Time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't recommend playing them in order.
No, because they're totally different. And then I reckon you probably get bored of it.
Yeah, the order makes no sense to begin with. So.
No. Cool, yeah. So I think it kind of depends on the game, I suppose, really. And again, depends on the film, depends on the series.
I think that's honestly what it comes down to. No matter what genre it is, it comes down to what the thing is.
Yeah.
If it is a story that you need to... that you won't understand unless you start from the beginning and work your way up, then obviously you need to start at the beginning and work your way up. But for anything in between... you can jump around a bit, and I don't think it's going to do too much harm.
Awesome.
Hopefully that answers your question, Jade. And
I'm sure it does.
Thank you for writing in.
Thank you very much. Thanks to everyone who has listened this far.
Yeah.
Anyone who, if you have got a question or anything, please do. You can look us up on Twitter at Let's Talk BS1.
Yep.
And you can look me up on Twitter. I'm @QueenieB.
And you can look me up on Twitter. I am @Saul Reed.
Cool, and we're on Facebook, we're on Fackybook.
Yep.
And I think we're on Instagram as well. I can't remember if I set it up or not.
If you do have any questions, then you can get hold of us on those, and we'll be as quick as we can in answering back or answering back later on a podcast.
Yeah, we are on iTunes and on YouTube. That would probably stick to them, to be honest. And please do give us a like on YouTube and leave us a comment and leave us a rating on iTunes. That'd be lovely. That'd be very nice if you need to do that. Hopefully we haven't gone up to the 2-hour mark again. I think we might have done.
I've got a timer here, actually.
Oh, okay.
We're at, I started about 5 minutes after, so we're at 1 hour 35, I reckon, by my count, which isn't too bad.
Well done, us. I mean, it's only 20 minutes left.
Pat us on the back. Yay.
But, thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate it.
I apologise if I made no sense. It's the codeine, I promise. I can use that as an excuse once. Yeah. Never again.
No. Hopefully by next podcast you will not be still on codeine.
Hopefully not. It's not. Well, I say it's not great. It's not bad.
We'll try and jump in it. We'll try and do a couple of extra ones to make up for being late.
Yeah,
maybe.
Definitely.
Yeah. Sweet. Thank you very much again for listening.
Yes, thank you so much.
I'm Ads.
I am Saul.
And join in next time where we'll be talking
more
BS. Thank you very much.
Bye.